So relationships have contradictions and they experience change as they try to navigate these contradictions. And they can do so using an informed praxis. They can think about, reflect upon the nature of the relationship and try to intervene in it with communicative activity that will hopefully allow them to navigate or manage these tensions. And so, to help us be able to do so in our relationships, we want to begin to be able to recognize some of the main types of tensions that are naturally occurring in all relationships. And there are three that relational dialectical theory gives us. The first is called closedness and openness. And we say and to be remembered because we take these two things together. We're not just talking about just closedness. We're not just talking about openness. We're talking about degrees of openness and closedness in our relationships. Both are desirable. We want to be open and expressive in our relationships, to share our intimate thoughts and our core identities, right? Remember social penetration theory. Over time, usually we try to become more open with our partners. At the same time, we want to maintain some sense of our self that's separate from others. We don't want to be completely open. We want to have some sort of protection over some of our more intimate and core aspects of our identity. And so both of these things are desirable. We want both of them. However, if you were completely closed off from your partners or completely open to your partners, both of those would be undesirable situations as well. There is a tension of open and closedness that is going on within each of us, as well as within the relationship between the partners, maybe one wanting it one more than the other. And then there's also a tension between the openness of the relationship to the outside of the relationship. How much of the relationship is going to be shared with friends, with family? Are you even going to tell them about the existence of the relationship? Or are you going to keep some things closed off from the rest of the world? So these tensions occur across both kind of self, relationship, and then relationship to the larger networks. And we see that with autonomy and connection, our second main dialectical tension. We want to be able to make our own choices, to be independent, to do our own thing, to be autonomous. That's something that is desirable, but we also want connection with other people. We want to do things with other people, share and spend time together with our friends, with our family members, make mutual decisions with our romantic partners. We want some interdependence in our lives. And so we're going to experience some dialectical tensions within our own selves between autonomy, our desire for autonomy, and our desire to be connected. And there's going to be some tension between your partner perhaps wanting more autonomy than you do at the time, or you wanting more connection than they do at the time. And there's of course also tensions between how much of are we going to let other people impact the decision making of our relationship? How autonomous will our relationship be when it comes to our parents? Are they going to be able to make decisions that's going to affect our lives? How connected is our relationship going to be to the outside world, the environment? So that tension exists there as well. The third tension and last one we're going to talk about is novelty and predictability. I kind of mentioned this before, but we desire at the same time for there to be kind of newness in our relationships, new patterns, new experiences. We want spontaneity. We want to be surprised. We want change. At the same time, too much of that is a big problem, right? If our relationships are constantly changing, if they're unpredictable, that can be unsettling. So we also want predictability. We want stability. We want reliability. We want trust and responsibility, right, in our relationships. We want these things, right, are going to be something that we want simultaneously within ourselves. I want to experience new things. I want stability. Our relational partners and ourselves might feel differently about these things. One of us might want newness. One of us might want more predictability. And then, of course, with us in the outside world, this will also be a tension that will be experienced. So these are the three main dialectical tensions. They're closely related. They usually have to do with kind of the self and the other. Closedness and openness deals with expressiveness. How much am I going to share? Autonomy and connection deals with kind of togetherness and making decisions together or apart. Novelty and predictability deals with stability and change in our relationships. So how do we navigate these things? Well, we have several different strategies that we can use in our communication to try to navigate these things. And I'm going to try to talk through them. And then we're going to show a video and I'll try to apply some of these ideas to the video. The first strategy that we can use is temporal selection, which is we just choose kind of to go towards one side for a short time or the other. We tell our partner, I desire connection. I would like you to share this with me. Openness. I desire openness. I desire something new. Right? Let's do something new for dinner tonight. So we could choose one side or the other, and we could try to share that plan with our partner. And that's called temporal selection. We can also choose to say that maybe we don't want to talk about this right now, or I don't want to talk right now, and we can talk later. We can share these intimate thoughts later. The next way we can maybe manage or navigate these tensions is what's called topical segmentation, and that's where we choose one area to satisfy one desire and another to satisfy the opposite desire. So in segmentation, you're saying maybe I don't want to talk about this topic, right? I don't want to talk about my family with you, but we can get intimate and let's talk about our future plans together. Let's name our children together, right? Let's be very, very intimate, but I'm not going to talk about this other area. So that's topical segmentation. I don't want to talk about this, but I will talk about that. With novelty and predictability, it might be topical segmentation would be, during the week, we during the normal work time, we stick to our predictable schedule, but when we go on vacations, we can go crazy. So choosing to satisfy it in one area of our lives, but not in the other. The next one is neutralization, which is basically compromising. We give a little bit and we take a little bit, partially fulfilling both desires. Let's say we're having a debate over predictability and novelty in our vacation. I want to go back to the cabin that we always go to for a whole week in the woods, and you want to go to the beach, which we've never done before. Maybe we neutralize this problem by compromising, and we'll go to the cabin for 3 days, and we'll go to the beach for 2 days. You don't get to have a full week at the beach, and I don't get a full week at the cabin, but we've partially fulfilled both of our desires for stability and novelty. It's an imperfect solution, and it causes us to kind of give up something for both of us. but it is a possibility we could try to compromise or neutralize the tensions. And finally, reframing is the fourth one. And that's where we just kind of change our thinking about the whole situation. What used to seem like a problem, now that we've communicated about it and talked about our feelings about it, doesn't seem to be a problem anymore. So reframing would be, while I wish that my partner would share about his childhood, right? I wish my partner would be more open about his childhood. After he's told me a little bit about it, I've come to understand that it's pretty traumatic for him, and that my need to hear about it is not as great as his need to protect it. And so I'm okay with this imbalance now. And so I would like him to share it with me, but he doesn't have to. Okay. So that would be an example of kind of reframing it. If it was a desire, you were desiring, let's say, more connection, more togetherness with your partner, and they say, no, like I need this time to myself. Maybe you can kind of go, while I wish that my partner would spend this time with me, I understand that it's important to him. And if I think about it, I actually do need some time to myself as well. Maybe I can try to, utilize this time to myself to do some things that I've been meaning to do. So reframing then. All right, let's take a look at a short video, and we're going to try to put some of these things, see how they're at play in a scene between Rachel and Ross on the TV show Friends. Okay, so remember, as we're watching this, be thinking about how the partners are negotiating and expressing different desires for openness and closedness, how much they want to share with each other in terms of their expressiveness, autonomy and connection, how much togetherness that they want, and novelty and predictability, newness and change.
If what I do is so lame, then why did you insist on coming with me this morning? Huh? Was it so I just wouldn't go with Mark?
No. I wanted to be with you. I don't know, I feel like lately, you're slipping away from me, with this new job and all these new people, and got this whole other life going on. And I know it's dumb, but I just hate that I'm not a part of it.
It's not dumb. But maybe it's okay that you're not a part of it. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like, I like that you're not involved in that part of my life.
That's a little clearer.
Honey, see, it doesn't mean that I don't love you, because I do. I love you so much. But my work, it's for me, I'm out there on my own, and I'm doing it. And it's scary, but I love it because it's mine. But, is that okay?
Sure.
All right, so in this scene, Rachel has a new job, and Ross is kind of, thrown by that, right? And he expresses to her early on a selection, right? He's selecting openness. I want you to share this part of your life with me. And he's selecting connection. I want to spend this time with you. And he's expressing a desire for predictability. You're doing these new things, you're meeting all these new people. I'm concerned. I don't know what's going on in this part of your life. Okay. So he's kind of making that bid or that selection for those parts of those dialectical tensions. And then we see Rachel's response back. And Rachel is displaying what we might call segmentation, right? And she says basically, it's okay that I have this time to myself, that I have this area of my life to myself. And it's good for me to have this kind of segmented place where I have my own autonomy and it's closed off from you, right? And she also does a bit of neutralization here when she says to Ross, I love you, but, right? So I love you. Let me tell you how I'm connected to you, but here's the deal. So she's trying to kind of have a little bit of both, or I'm seeing in that a kind of neutralization of the issue. Let me tell you I love you and make it okay. And also she then kind of ends the scene asking for him to reframe the issue in his mind. I really need this time to myself. Can you understand that? Can you see that? And of course, the joke is he says yes and no. Says yes to her and kind of no to us. So this is something that's probably going to be a persistent tension for them, and it's perhaps not resolved by this conversation. But they are making some progress. They're expressing their feelings to each other, and they're going to hopefully find a way to navigate through what could be a problem for a relationship. Okay, so I want to leave you with just some final thoughts about dealing with tensions in relationships. And that is, first, accept that tensions are going to exist. Relational dialectical theory tells us that we are not going to rid ourselves of the tensions, that our goal is to kind of navigate through them, to survive the tensions, and to communicate with each other as the dynamic tensions are changing and moving. So we have to be willing to communicate, to negotiate, to be open and honest about our needs and our feelings. And we have a few ways we can respond. We can kind of accept the imbalances in our relationships, try to reframe them and understand them. We can use our communication to try to rebalance the relationship by making a selection for a certain period of time, or finding a certain part of our lives to satisfy these things. Or we can choose to end or fundamentally change the relationship. Not all relationships are meant to last, and nor should they. So that's a perfectly acceptable solution if no other solutions are available, or if there is ongoing dysfunction of a concerning level. So something to think about, and that was relational dialectical theory. Make agreements, be open to renegotiations. It's an ongoing kind of river of the relationship that we're on, and relational dialectical theory is going to help us navigate the shores of openness, closedness, predictability, and novelty, and autonomy, and connection. All right, hope you enjoyed the video.